Well, hey friends, my name is Andrea. This is Journals for Breakfast. You are so welcome here. If you are new here, I'm glad you found us. Today we're going to talk about my multiverse of journals. I am in and out of a lot of journals year round. That's always been my way. And I figured because we're kind of moving into March now, I think everybody who sort of got their journaling lives together in January and by February started to kind of figure out what was going to stick, what was not going to stick. That would be a good time to kind of review what is really working for me this year, and what I have going, why I have so many going. If you're new to this channel, what I'll tell you is that my premise when it comes to this space is simple. I just give us permission to have a great time with our journaling life. What I don't love in the journaling world is when I hear from people that they have an idea that journaling is one thing and they burned out on that one thing. So maybe their idea about journaling was health tracking and they did that for a long time and then they hated it and now they don't journal at all anymore. Or Dear Diary, or like really deep thoughts for therapy or something like that. They're all valid types of journaling. It's just that they're not the only type of journaling. And what I really offer in this space, or at least try to, is a reminder that we can broaden our definition of journaling so that we don't shut ourselves out of it if we find ourselves burning out of one type or another, and give ourselves permission to be in and out of as many journals as brings us joy. There's no pressure. If you bought a journal, you tried it, you didn't love it, you shelve it, that's fine. That's okay. No rules journaling. I have a video on this channel called No Rules Journaling. If you'd like to review that, please do. I would love to hear your comments about that. And yeah, we don't set arbitrary rules about journals for ourselves. Sometimes you buy something because it looked like the greatest setup and you realize it's just not functioning for your brain. Sometimes the paper is wrong, or I've done this. I've bought ruled paper, so it's lined, and the lines are too thin for my big, bulky handwriting. It's just not going to fly. So that's fine. Give ourselves permission to put those away, but also give ourselves permission to try as many types of journaling as we would like. My belief about journaling is that anything we do that is analog is journaling. Are you writing down a to-do list every day? That's a journal. Are you creating a cleaning floor plan for your house? That's journaling. Are you keeping a paper planner, an analog planner? 100% a journal. Yeah, I feel like anytime we put pen to paper, stickers to paper, a paintbrush to paper, we are journaling. And so broaden that definition and give ourselves room for plenty. I have a stack of journals that I'm working out of this year, and they are keeping me so engaged. We're going to go through a flip through of them through some overhead, but real quickly, I'll just introduce a few. One is my reading journal. Now, this is a great example of why you might have more than one journal, because even if you are a super disciplined, die hard, this is my journal and what I do is memory keep every single day, or health track every single day, or whatever that one thing is, there are going to be some other journaling options that are standalone, like a reading journal. You don't, I assume, finish a book every single day. I certainly don't. So this is a journal that's going to sit on the shelf a lot. I'm only in it when I need to record the latest book that I finished and add the next one that I'm about to read. So a good example of why you might start having multiple journals is some are just standalones. They just do their own thing. They serve one single purpose. Another example of kind of a standalone that I'm working in this year that I'm really enjoying are the 5-year journals. And I have two of them, which I know is so crazy. But what I decided to do with my 5 years, one, I just wanted to test it. Could I commit to a 5-year journal, or would that feel totally crazy? And I'm here to tell you I'm enjoying it. What I've been doing with this particular one from Rifle Paper Company is I write down one joy moment per day. That's it. And they can be very simple, like the moon. I mean, the moon was just stunning last night. That's it. There's the joy moment. So that one is very simple to maintain. It's just a sentence. And even if I fall behind by a day or two, if I kind of think back or look back at my planner, I can usually pull something. But I've actually done a really good job of staying on top of it, in part because it's really simple to record. The other one is this Hobonichi 5-year that I showed you guys here. And I have a video again on this channel, if you just scroll down a little, about the Hobonichi 5-year and why I decided to dive into it. This one requires a little bit more attention in what I'm recording, because what I decided to do with this one is record the day of the week, the temperature, high and low. I put gym in the top right corner if I worked out. And then I just do a little recap of the most basic thing about that day. And then watching, I write down what we're watching at night. If we're playing a game together, I'll list what the game is that we're on at that time. And then I write down what we ate for dinner. I am having a good time with this. It's really fun. And yeah, I don't know. I think I'm going to enjoy looking back at this, and I love having our dinners in there. I don't know why, but I just find it really entertaining. Like, on Friday the 20th, we had leftover shrimp scampi. Yum. The other night we had a cheese omelet and salad. I don't know. I just think it's fun to look back at it. So pretty standalone though, because it's a very specific entry. So that's that thing. I've showed you guys many times my traveler's passport. I call this my pocket brain, and I also call it my security blanket. I keep this with me everywhere I go. And in this is a to-do list, an overview monthly calendar. It just has the main thing each day. So if I have an appointment or something, um, and a little bit of art, a little tiny touch of art for a little creativity. And this just stays in my purse. So, you got to have that guy around, and he's my calendar. I don't keep a digital calendar. So if you're new here, FYI, I have no shade thrown on anyone who maintains digital calendars, but my whole premise for journaling and being on paper and being on analog time is to keep my hands away from screens and phones as much as possible. I never got into digital calendaring, even on my laptop as a business owner. It was always paper planners. And yeah, so I need a little monthly calendar in my purse with me so that if I run into someone and they would like to do something with me, I can take a peek. I have a couple little standalone just art journals. This little guy just has some collage and kind of quotes, that kind of stuff. I don't go into him every single day, just on occasion. This big bad boy, this beauty, used to be my Hobonichi cousin. I'm not in that planner this year. I'm using a Paper Republic planner, so I'm going to show you him in a second. But instead, I put in him a notebook, and this is actually where I take notes for this channel. So this is just kind of my brain dump for my YouTube space. So again, kind of standalone. He's got his own purpose. I certainly don't write about YouTube planning every day. This little notebook, this is my Dear Diary. This simple linen covered, this is where I go deep. If I have something I really need to address with my therapist, or I'm feeling is really overwhelming to me at some point, it goes into this. So that also can go months without looking at, and then I can go a week where it's not in my hands. You know what I mean? I need it constantly. We've talked about art journals this year. I have got a sketch journal, a watercolor journal, and a collage journal, and I'm in and out of them as the mood hits throughout the week. So 3 art journals. We're up to 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 journals for 2026 right now that I'm working in right now. And then number 11 is my planner. And this is a Paper Republic planner inside of a leather cover from Sandy by the Lakeside. And the leather is to die for. It's stunning. This is the cover of the planner that I did myself. Big old collage. And you can see this is a giant planner. It's an A4. And we'll take a peek at him. But I really like the layout. Of course, I can't get to a page. I really like this big spread. Gives me lots of room to move around, add stuff. I do a little bit of bullet journaling, sort of set up like this box is to-dos this week. This box is what to focus on, that kind of stuff. So we'll look at him too. That is essentially the multiverse that's going on for 2026. And I have no rules about any of them except the 2 5-years. I'm trying to keep up with them, but again, they're really simple little entries. And I will say that the Hobonichi that requires temps, dinner, what we're watching, like some specific stuff, my planner helps with that because I often have that information in here too. So if I've gotten behind by a few days, usually a glance in the planner will catch me back up. I like the idea of recall too. It's kind of enjoyable to go back a couple days. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. We made spaghetti that night. That was delish. So yeah, I'm enjoying that as well. I'm going to throw in some overhead so you can just kind of flip through these journals with me and enjoy. And on the back end, we'll do a little catch up, and I'll share with you a fun little meetup that I had this week too. So welcome. I'm super happy you're here, and let's do a little flip through. Okay. Okay, so this is the reading journal. You guys have seen this if you've been here before, so I'm not going to do a big deep dive into it. I'm just going to tell you some basics, which is that it's an Archer and Olive TN, so Traveler's Notebook size and shape. I last year did my entries this way, and this year have switched to give myself a little bit more space. What I like to do with my reading journal is write down, I put a photo of the cover of the book. I write down the number of the book that it is for the year. This was the first book I read this year, and a little bit about it. I usually throw in a star rating, and it looks like I didn't do that much this year, so maybe I'll go back and update that. So yeah, just to cover, and then a little write up about it, remind myself a little bit about the characters, what I thought of it. I just finished Theo Golden, which, if you have not read this yet, I very highly recommend. It was a delight. Wow, what a story. So I need to fill in Theo of Golden for this year. And I print these covers out on this little Canon Ivy. I adore this little this little printer. So you buy this paper, stack it in, and every photo that comes out is sticker. So you can pull the back off of it and have it be a sticker if you would like, or it can just be just a little photograph for you. That's me, by the way, in the most rad shirt ever made in the history of shirts. Okay, so I love this little printer. I use it for some journaling. I don't do it for a ton of memory keeping. I use it for some. Mostly I use that for art inspiration. If there's something I think I might like to paint, then I print a picture of it out. And I usually will keep it someplace where I can see it frequently to give me some inspo, or maybe just a picture of my sweet dog. So that's the reading journal. I keep it pretty straightforward and simple. And yeah, that's journal number 1. And it works well in my multiverse. And this one is lasting me 2 years worth of reading, perhaps. We'll see how well I do. I only read about 2.5 to 3 books a month. So yeah, I'm not the most prolific reader. This is the 5-year we were talking about. This one is from Rifle Paper Company. And I have, like I said, a whole video here about the Hobonichi one. But I decided to just test them both out this year. Why not? And see what I think of them. And what I noticed I was doing was accidentally kind of repeating in here what I'd written in the Hobonichi as kind of a sort of a little synopsis of the day. And that's not really what I want in here. What I really want in here are joy moments, and I want them to be short and sweet. So yeah, like a moment, changing this journal to joy moment of the day, something simple. Met up with a really sweet new friend, or I have a GP who's just a gem, and she books 1 hour appointments with you. 1 hour. Did you hear what I said? Is that incredible? I made a note about that. So yeah, I'm going to keep that going. I've enjoyed it, and it's 5-year. You just put it in. So this is 2026. February 27th was a Friday. 2027, February 27th should be a Saturday, but February is weird because of that leap year. Anyway, you get the idea. And so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, same day. What did you do? And I love it. I think that's really fun. This is the Hobonichi 5-year, and it is a little bit more involved. Like I said, I do the day of the week, and it's the same idea. 2026, Saturday, February 28th, 27, 8, 9, and 30. I put the temp, the low, and the high. I put what we're watching and what we eat for dinner. And it is a quick little fill in. Now, this one for the day, I do kind of a little recap. Like for yesterday, I will put in here that we purchased 5 new bookcases and did a big book case, redo, setup. What am I trying to say? We organized everything. Everything is cleaned out. A decent stack went to Goodwill. It's just a really nice like revamp of our whole library, really, is what that day was. So I'll put that in there. I'll put down what we watched last night and what we ate for dinner. So that's been easy to maintain as well. And as I said, if I get a little behind, I actually can catch up a bit thanks to my good planner habits as well. Art journals. Again, I'm kind of flying through this because I've got a lot of videos on this channel. If you're new here, I show you my art journal lineups in its own video. So just go to videos and look back a little bit and you'll see them. This is the sketch journal. I am teaching myself to sketch. I don't have any training in it. So I'm just playing with little images of certain things, just trying to get kind of shapes and ideas down. This one is a whole page of sketching about chores. I haven't worked in this year. I've been focused on my watercolor and collage journal. So that's a really good example of what I'm trying to say about no rules journaling, though. Yes, I started a sketch journal last year. No, I haven't been in it this year. Do I feel guilty about that? No, I have a lot of journaling going on and a lot happening in my life. This will be here for me when I'm ready. In and out, no rules journaling. Get there when you feel like it. Sometimes I'm more in the mood for it than others. So no rules. So there's the sketch journal. This is an Archer and Olive 8x8 dot grid, and I adore this shape for a journal. This one looks to me like it's probably watercolor. Nope, it's collage. I was wrong. Okay, so this is a collage journal I just started this year. Now, I have a ton of collage journals. Y'all know that if you've been here, I have collage everywhere. It's what I do, it's my medium, it's what I love the most. I cover all of my books with collage. Collage is my bag, it's my thing, it's what I do. But I just decided to devote a book to it this year, a bigger book. I have small books, little notebooks devoted to collage, but this is my first big one. And I have done a whopping total of 1, 2 collages in here this year. So it's I got really consumed with doing bookmarks for the bookstore. That's taken up a lot of my collage time. So my own personal collage time is suffering a bit, which is fine. I'm still getting my groove on with the bookmarks. But yeah, so a collage journal for this year. When I'm in the mood, it's there for me. It doesn't have to be every day. And this is the watercolor journal, and I've definitely done more in here than I have in the collage journal. I've just been in a watercolory mood this year. I don't know what's going on, but so far, the first few months of the year, what I've wanted to do is just get out, paint, and go to town. So I told you guys recently about doing this, just splatting some paint on there for the sake of it, and then I just put some good quotes in for me. So it's not a painting. It's just getting paint on paper. I just get the urge sometimes to put a brush on paper. There's that marsh. There's the marsh again. I painted these little swatches and then just did a little collage there of them. Collection maybe. And then I did some paint in here and I ended up collaging over it. So now I'm going like collage and watercolor. So no rules, just have fun. So there's those art journals. And again, there's a whole video devoted to those. If you'd like a deeper dive, please do seek that out. Um, this little guy is that's empty, just some art pages. So when I just am in the mood for something smaller, a little bit of collage time, but I'm not committing to a big 8x8 spread. I can just do some little easy pages in here. Y'all have seen this before. These aren't new pieces, but it's just an example of having kind of a multiverse going so that I just am constantly have my hands on something. And some mornings I come in here and just look, I don't have the bandwidth for a big spread. I just want to do a little bit of dabbling, and these small books give me that opportunity. These are passport size notebooks, and I really enjoy them. So, yeah, there's a lot of companies that do passport size notebooks. This is a traveler's company passport notebook, but this is not. This is from Just G Paper Company, excuse me, out in California, and you can find her on Etsy. I've linked her many times in many videos. but she sells traveler's size notebooks. And so I just do quotes and collage in here. Just fun little things. This was a tarot card that I pulled, and then did a little writing about the reading that day, what that meant to me. This is just a collection of different quotes that were speaking to me over that time frame. I love this for just, I don't know, it's just kind of, what would you call it? Kind of brain dump. Yeah. Um, yeah, I just really enjoy that. So, and it's a nice small size, really enjoyable. This is also from Just G, and this one, the papers are all in the pink family, which is really pretty. And so I'll add him eventually. We'll get that going. So just a little mini art guy. If you are traveling, going on a trip or something, this can be the right size for that too. Um, just throw it in your carry-on, and then if you get that urge for a little creative urge, or if you hear a quote that you just can't stand to forget, get it in there. But that said, this security blanket slash pocket brain, I have showed you guys here 1 million times, I'm pretty sure is the number. This is a traveler's passport size, and it goes absolutely everywhere with me. It is my security blanket. I'm very fidgety, typically speaking. And so if I'm in a meeting or something, I like to have him in front of me. It just gives me a place to put my hands and kind of focus. There's that amazing photograph again. And yeah, so I have a sleeve where I've got room for some photos. I like to set up journaling pages where I'll get some collage done and then leave a blank spot, so that if something really strikes me as like really worth saving quote wise, I have a place to put it that's kind of pretty. So that's one little journaling thing that I like to do in the mornings. Excuse me, sometimes, is just create journal space. So it's collage, but now it's got room for some quotes and some journaling. And then this is just my to-do list. And it looks like some quotes from some meetings I've been in. But yeah, I usually just keep kind of an ongoing to-do list in there. A little pocket full of ephemera if I just get the urge. And this is a calendar. It's just a monthly glance at what's going on, and I need to fill March in. So yeah, that little book goes with me. This is a reading journal in that it's a list of what I've read, so that if I'm out in the wild and somebody asks me, what have you read this year? I can list the 5 or 6 books. I can glance at them very quickly. My recall can be iffy on that. Sometimes I sort of draw a blank, and it's nice to have that when I don't have my actual reading journal with me. So that's my little carry all. And again, lots of videos on this channel if you'd like a deeper dive into my traveler's notebook setup. Simple linen, beautiful roughhouse print shop out of Kansas. This is a husband and wife owner operator. They make the most beautiful books. Their paper is lovely, and I use this for deep dives in therapy. What is really something I need to really focus on with my therapist. Maybe she'll give me some homework to think about. That's what I do in this very simple book. So not every day, of course. And then this was my Hobonichi cousin book, and I'm not in a Hobonichi cousin this year. So what I've got instead is just an A5 notebook that's blank paper. And what I've been doing with it is just writing in quotes that really stand out to me. And then the other day I jumped in here. I pulled 3 cards. 3 different decks of things that were kind of on my brain at that moment. I pulled a card for each item and then just wrote down a little blurb about them. So that's a really nice little book to have. I don't get into this every single day because he's YouTube related mostly. What I put in here are ideas for my YouTube channel. So I pop in here when I know I need to get some things outlined and etc. So that's what I use this for. Not in it every day. It's also why I took the pen out of it, because the pen that was here I'm using for some other stuff. But that's that one, part of the multiverse. He has a tendency to be very important in my life, this A5, and then fade out, and be really important and then fade out. And I love that about journals, that you can just keep them forever and they can come and go in your life. I will certainly go back to a Hobonichi cousin at some point. I love that setup, but I'm glad I took a break from it this year. And I'll show you what I'm doing instead, which is the Paper Republic A4. This is so big, it's not going to fit in this camera shot. Let me see. I'll pull this back a little for you. So this cover, like I said, is a beautiful leather. I wish you could feel it. It is to die for. I put a little collage in the corner. Will this then change the color of the leather beneath it? Yeah, it will. And I don't care. I like my leather to look really beaten up over time. And when I get tired of this, I'll pull it off and I'll hit this with a leather conditioner, and it will actually bring it back to this pretty closely. But like I said, I don't mind. I like my journals, leather journal covers to look pretty used, like this beautiful guy here who's just had so many stickers on him and off again, and stickers on him and then off again. I love it. And I just like how used he looks. Okay. So this is the Paper Republic A4. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've got that right. A4 planner. In the front is just a whole layout of the year: April, May, June, and I put the full moon for each month. And then I also put in any birthdays that are relevant that month. And that's pretty much all that I put in there. You can see that I tend to have a lot of Leos in my life. That's August. So, let me show you a spread that won't confuse you. So wait, let's look at it blank first. Let's look at it blank first. Okay, let me get all my notes out of here. Okay, first, what you have is the week: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday are split down here. Can you see that? And then a big blank dot grid page. And I knew when I saw that, heaven, Andrea, heaven. That's what I love, big dot grid. So here's how I fill it in. Let me move this over. Here's how I fill it in. So I put a few little lines in here. Let me show you. I don't even think that's super accurate. This feels more accurate to me. These are appointments over on this side. So I've got to go to the gym and I'm meeting Tony. I've got to go to the gym. I'm going to have sushi, right? So actual appointments are here. Then what I plan to do creatively is in the middle. And then what we're going to do for dinner and maybe a few chores are over here. I like to do this kind of bullet journal over here where I create a box with this week's focus. Sometimes I'll do some weekly habits to track, some projects I'd like to focus on this week. Maybe I put some little quotes down here to live by, to keep me focused. So I got sick in February. And so one of them, see, like that week, never mind. I was in bed. Okay. So I've kept this up pretty well with this concept, this week's focus. I'm doing a 50 strong with my gym, and so a couple reminders there. Creative Life, Substack page that I'm considering. And then I'm starting to get the groove, right? Here we are towards the end of February, and I'm finally starting to really figure it out. And I love it. So here's some YouTube stuff I wanted to focus on, some writing, and some social time. These are some actual errands that need to be run, some health goals, some bigger projects, and this week's focus. Sometimes this can be about emotional stuff that's happening, like this one: allow trust and faith to guide you forward as you flow like a river into the sea of life. That quote, I think I was feeling some resistance about some things, and it was just a reminder to myself to just let trust and faith be my guide this week. So yeah, I really enjoy the space that this gives me. It's big, it's not for everybody, and also, no, I wouldn't take this with me everywhere I go. When I was doing the A5 Hobonichi cousin, this did pretty much go with me everywhere. This would actually fit in a lot of it fits in all my tote bags and things like that. This is pretty big, so it just stays here. But right now, so do I. I retired last year, so I just don't need a big planner with me everywhere I go. The one thing I'll say is that it doesn't have a monthly each month, so I just added it. I snagged a cheap calendar, ripped the pages out, and just did a tip in at the beginning of each month, so I can have a monthly overview. that I can flip back to when I need it. And I was getting ready to do some collage on the March one and got called away. Oh, yeah. I don't know if that's going to work. We need to clean that up. So we'll work on this March one, but I need to get March filled in, and then I have a view of, all the appointments I have this week, et cetera, et cetera. So again, that's the nice thing about that Hobonichi cousin, is it does have that beautiful monthly for you. What the Hobonichi cousin has that I don't need is the weekly, that weekly drop down. And there's a lot of pages in that book that are weekly because they're every week. So I guess there's 52 of them in that book. And I just didn't feel like I needed them, because either the weekly or the daily, which is it going to be? I don't need both. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. But I like their layout. I really do. So I may go back to them eventually. But Paper Republic, beautiful paper, collage worthy, watercolor worthy. I highly recommend. So another in my lineup, the multiverse. And this is a journal, but it's a planner too. So like it's needed. Yeah. YouTube, deep thoughts and therapy, art, pocket brain, reading journal, 5 year, 5 year. Okay, there they all are. The multiverse, and they all bring me joy. That's what matters. So, the multiverse, there are a lot of journals in my life, and all I really offer here is permission for there to be a lot of journals in your life too. I think they all have their time and place. And yeah, just no guilt. I've mentioned here, because I'm a knitter, as you can see, that I don't do whips, so works in progress. And I have like multiple knit projects sitting around. And I've said, because I feel them staring back at me if I am ignoring them. I start to feel this pressure of the unfinished project. There's a lot of other reasons too, but that is one of them. I don't get that with journals. They're there for me when I need them, and I've set them up and they're ready when they're ready. And so, yeah. And I wanted to share a fun meetup I had this week. Creating this space has been a really interesting journey for me. And for those of you who've been with me from the beginning, thank you for sticking it out. What a weird run we had there too, right? So like some health stuff came up, etc. But it's so much fun to make a YouTube community and then get so much feedback and comments. And a lot of you reach out to me on Instagram, where I'm also Journals for Breakfast, and send me private messages there. And I've just really enjoyed that contact and that community. And I got a message this week from a viewer who also follows me on Instagram. And she was in town. Her travel plan, she and her husband were traveling, and a storm messed things up, and they just ended up here. And so she reached out and we hooked up and we talked for 2.5 hours. Now, the thing is, I'm also a viewer of her channel. So her name is Dag, and she owns Ziawoolz out of Albuquerque, New Mexico. She is a yarn dyer. And because I watch knitting podcasts, I already was familiar with her and watching her. I think she found me through a friend that watches me here. So small world, all linked back up again. But I love her knitting podcast. She's also does rug hooking, and she does spinning. Yeah. So if you're into fiber arts at all, I'm going to link her podcast below, her YouTube channel. I highly recommend. But Paperdag is her name on Instagram, because she's also really into journaling and pens, her fountain pen collection. Holy macaroni. So she reached out, we connected, and we sat for 2.5 hours and talked all things journals and knits. It was just a dream come true. She also had a long talk with me about fountain pens. I have 3 that I've been working with, and I don't love them. And so that's why you never hear me talking about fountain pens here. I know the journaling world is crazy for fountain pens, and here I am going, did I miss the bus? I don't get it. We figured out what's up. One thing is, I bought 3 super cheap fountain pens. They just aren't great. I mean, that's just all it comes down to. And you know how that goes. You kind of get what you pay for in this world. And I think fountain pens is one of those places. So she convinced me to upgrade, and I ordered a new pen, and I'll show that to you guys when it comes in. but she let me use her pen. She brought some with her in her travel journal. So I actually got to write with a few different nib sizes and different inks. Oh gosh, it was very different than what I've been working with. So that was really fun. And yeah, it just felt great to connect with someone that you just connect so well with. So I'll throw a couple of pictures of us in there. So find her on Instagram at Paperdag. And I'll link her YouTube channel for Ziawoolz podcast as well. So that was really enjoyable. And I've got a quote for us this week that is our prompt, such as it is. Yeah, here it is. Often we do a tarot reading, but this video is running long. So we're not going to pull out a card this week. We're just going to go with this quote. And the quote is this: Know that you can start late, look different, be uncertain, and still succeed. Talk about giving us permission. Um, I I think this quote was really speaking to me because we've done a lot of talking here about like starting art journals in your 50s, or even just starting art period in your 50s. And one of the things that I was reading about this week that came up a few times, because I know that my 50s have been the bomb. I mean, they've been hard. I've gone through a lot of stuff, as y'all know. But also for me personally, I have just found this security with just being me in a way in my 50s that I never found prior to this. And one of the things I was reading about is that part of that phenomena, because a lot of women will tell you that they kind of came alive at 50, is that menopause is the thing that flips the switch. We just don't have the bandwidth for nonsense anymore. Our bodies are creating enough drama that in truth, we can't take on your drama too. We just can't do it. Right. And so we start to get more honest about our boundaries and our limits and our own self care. And I just think that's a really lovely side effect of something that isn't super lovely in its own right. So I've loved that. And I feel like this quote sort of got to that to me. Know that you can start late, look different, be uncertain, and still succeed in whatever it may be. Build a YouTube community, start a journaling practice, start a journaling multiverse, start artwork, as we've talked about here before. It's never too late. And if you're a younger viewer who is joining us, it's never too early either. Get in there, make it happen. Thank you for joining me here. I love the community that we're building. I talk about that every time. And because I am loading a little erratically right now, my best suggestion is to subscribe and hit the notification button. That way, when I do drop something super randomly, as I've been doing the last few weeks, you won't miss it. I would love to hear from you about your experience with this space. Is it a space you want me to keep going, keep doing? Is there something in particular you'd like for me to dive a little bit deeper into? Maybe I've hinted around it here and there, but haven't done a whole video on it. Any requests, any questions? What have you got? So yeah, let me know and we'll keep this going strong. Next video that goes up are my 3 favorite tips for jumping back into journaling if we've been in a little bit of a rut. So that'll be coming up next. And then maybe based on some of the feedback I get from you guys, we'll see what comes in after that. So I'm going to drop in some photos of the amazing meetup with the amazing Dag of Paperdag. And I'll throw you a few pictures of the bookshelf redo because that was so cool. And the one that I love the most is in my bedroom, simply because I was able to get all of my big series in one on one bookcase in order of how they were written. And it's made me want to reread every one of them. Something about touching all of those books and remembering what it was like to go through those big, long series. Really good stuff. Okay, so happy journaling. Give yourself permission, as many as you would like. Go start a new one right now. That's fine. And I'll see you guys very soon. Have a great day.